Hello, and welcome back to Two Bros Plus Jesus on the Grace Awakening Network on Roku. Let me start off by saying on last week's episode, I made a statement that Brother Tony will be back next week, and that was my apology. That was my misunderstanding. Me and Brother Tony get together and we record multiple episodes, and I misunderstood his message. And So yeah, just your bro CJ here again for this episode. But I will say, like last week, I am very honored to cover a full episode for Brother Tony. And working with him these past 4 years prior to this has been an absolute amazing blessing. I'll also say this Grace Awakening Network, wow. What else can be said? Just every episode, different every individual group on this Roku channel, just wow. Just the messages of grace and love being spread, and I can't stop talking about this great and wonderful channel. And I can say, and I can speak for myself and Brother Tony, that we are honored to be a part of this, to show that love and grace of Papa God. So when I reread Tony's message, realized I needed to do another recording. I I sat here and I collected my thoughts, and in our intro and outro, we talk about taking the love of Papa God, the grace of Papa God outside the four walls, to spread His love and grace in our everyday lives. And I went back and watched an earlier episode, and where me and Brother Tony talked about where we met at the mall after being in the same room as being in the same room as each other maybe once or twice prior. Him coming up to me, laying or naming off all my issues, smacking me upside the head, telling me I was healed, and then walking away. And a couple days later, I realized that I no longer have my issues, which very thankful to Papa God for taking for doing what I should have known even to do this whole time and be healed already. But I was thinking about that part where it happened at our local mall, outside of the four walls of a church. And if y'all don't mind, I'm going to share my full story on this episode. My whole life, I have grown up in a church, and I've had a religious background where. But what's interesting about then and now, where starting from the beginning, where we where me and my family was at our an older a previous church compared to where we're at now. I'm very proud to say that at that place at the time, we saw healings in the church. We saw, we saw miraculous healings inside the church. We saw great powerful works that Papa God did, but the picture that was painted from the previous pastor at the time was, and when I say paint, I mean the way I understood it, everything was about getting people to the church building. Everything was done in the church. Everything was about the four walls, in a sense. In a sense. And then, um, when that pastor at the time retired, another one came in, and for lack of better words, something was just different. And so, me and my family made a group decision to step away from that church. And then we went to a couple, and then we found the church we're at now, where that pastor and we are still there because we and this pastor talks about the grace, the love, going outside, going outside the four walls to do works, to do, and there and just preach about the love of Papa God, healing, and everything, and everything with grace. Me and my family was there for a couple. Me and my family was there for a couple weeks, and I was starting. I was starting to get. I was starting to get that the grace message concept, but then Tony showed up, which of course I'm in the camera booth. He doesn't even see me because we're kind of hidden behind the wall. Run the camera, the soundboards, and everything else. He walks in, sits like right against the wall in front of me, so I couldn't even look down and see him. And then a week or two later, found me in the mall and smacked me upside the head. But that whole time we were at the old church, and when Tony smacked me upside the head, in love, I always, I would like to think I always had that mindset of there's got to be more to this than just the four walls. There's got to be more than just getting people to a church building and everything else. And when Tony smacked me upside the head, and I realized I didn't have my issues and problems anymore, and that's when, for lack of better words, I kind of latched on to his ministry, and he's like, yeah, it's called Outside the Four Walls, and I'm like, it was just such a revelation of Papa God's grace and love goes beyond the four walls. It goes sharing, not just, hey, come to this church building and hear about grace and love. Share it in person, right there, outside the four walls. There are a lot of people that don't want to go inside the four walls, and that is one part of why I love this Grace Awakening Network. It's another revenue to spread God's grace, love, and compassion outside the four walls. But going into the thoughts of there always had to be more, when after my healing, and me and brother Tony started talking very, very regularly. He we he does a little like a short live on his Facebook page, and he puts me on camera, and I just started busting out laughing. In previous episodes, y'all have heard my laugh, and next thing I know, Tony looks at me, he's like, "How would you feel about working together?" And at the time, oh, the timing of that question. I was in the process of buying a house, changing jobs, or I just changed jobs, buying a house, getting my new schedule together. I was like, "Give me a few months." But in those few months, talking to brother Tony every day, he even came by my work, and there would be there. I know there was a time there was a delivery driver that came to my work. He was dropping stuff off, and Tony looked at him. He's like, "You look like your knees hurt." He's like, "Man, my knee is killing me." He's like, "God wants to heal you. God loves you. God's grace is with you right now." He's like, "Dude, I'm hung over. God ain't gonna heal me. I drank 10 beers last night and I just feel like crap." He probably said other words, but we'll just say crap if you know what I mean. And Tony's like, "I don't care what you say, you're healed." 2 weeks later, that delivery driver comes in, same delivery driver comes to my building. He's like, "My knee ain't hurt since that blue hair guy talked to me." And I was like, "Dude, that's Papa God's love and grace, man. You didn't have to go to a church to be healed. It's out. It's not just the wall. It's outside the walls. You don't have to go to a church to be healed. Be healed right now." And I could go on. I go on and on about many stories where me and Tony are riding together, or we're working together, we're traveling somewhere, and there's just so many stories like that. We're just so many examples of going from everything had to be done inside the four walls was the painted picture that was to now. I was at a local restaurant not too long ago, and this a friend of mine, or a person I knew, I call him friend. We know each other a little bit. They looked at the boss like, "My head's killing me. I got to go." Like, they're about to call out. I stopped them. We talked a minute, and I was like, you know, that headache's gone. Papa God's grace and love is working right now. Ain't got to worry about waiting on Wednesday night service to get inside the four walls to be healed. It took a minute, and their migraine went away. And as all through Papa God's grace, love, and compassion, that healing was done right then, and they went back to work. And I could honestly say that smack upside the head I got in the mall in February of 19 not only helped me realize my healing, it also kicked off to learning about Papa God's grace and love in a greater concept than I could ever imagine. And y'all have seen it in many episodes or in the couple episodes that have been posted already, when Tony talks about the church versus the body. that's what I read when I compare the church and the body. The church is about the four walls with the obligatory confines of attendance and things of that nature versus the body, which is everyone on this fine Grace Awakening network and and there are churches that do that good grace, and I'm glad I found one here, and I'm glad that this channel is to get these people together to spread the grace that is Papa God. I know back early 2020 when we went to New York, me and Brother Tony did. Every time we stopped, there was always someone we'd have to stop, or every time we go by the car or go in the fuel stop or whatever, there'd always be someone hurting. It's just another chance to spread Papa God's grace, love, compassion, and the knowledge of and the knowledge of healing, because all work's done through Papa God. I think of all these different stories, and I'm so thankful that Papa God's grace put me and Tony together in that mall that day. Where yes, I literally got smacked upside the head, was told I was healed, and that it is. I think about just where I was and where Papa God's got me now, and with this Grace Awakening Network, watching more and more people is truly a blessing and an honor. That no matter what I thought of what I thought of myself, or what even if I'm having a rough day, and where I think of myself, Papa God has got my worth more than through Him. With that, with being a part of the Papa God family, no matter what I think, my worth is always what Papa God thinks, and that love. and uh, and I just and I'm also very thankful for my bro Tony, who because like you've seen in previous episodes, or if this is your first episode, go back and watch some of our previous, where he talks about take the religious confines, throw them in the trash, and burn it. It it's a challenge, especially if you grew up in it. But when that grace settles in, and it's more than just the confines of the four walls, and going out and showing that love and Papa God's grace, you let go of those the church uh, old beliefs and sayings with and even though I grew up with a the church religious background, and Tony worked hard to bring me some of the more man-made churchiosities compared to the grace and how it should be done. From day one, Brother Tony treated me like an equal, and I'll always thank him and love him for it. um, and just like I'm so thankful that Brother Tony is the one who found the GAN channel. He asked my opinion on it, but I think it was dead set on joining onto this network. But he did ask my opinion on it, and I'm like, bro, if you feel it, let's roll with it. But again, it was his YouTube channel and his ministry, and he brought me on. He's treated me like an equal since day one, and that's just another example of the grace that Brother Tony shows. Definitely come a long way in a few short years from the churchiosity, church, and then churchiness. And I am glad Tony found this Grace Awakening Network channel on Roku. It's been nothing but a blessing. And I'm telling everyone, the NBA finals are getting ready to start. And for those that know me, I'm a sports guy. And all my guys are like, all you talk about is this Roku channel. You ain't even talk about sports right now. I'm like, I can't get enough of this stuff. And I mean it. I'm so happy and full of joy to come from where I was. And I'm so thankful for for the grace awakening in me from how I used to be just a short time ago. Um, sorry, I'm happy, I'm giddy, I'm tickled pink, but Tony, or I know that Tony will want me to say this. His website, TonyBelieves.com. He has 5 books that are on the website, or there is a Amazon link with his 5 books. And on the website, there's a give button for anyone that would like to donate to the ministry. All is greatly appreciated. Any and all is greatly appreciated. We are on YouTube, Tony Myers. Just look for the blue hair guy. Let's see, website, 5 books on Amazon. All right, Roku, or Grace Awakening Network on Roku. That'll be it for today. I'm not even going to say Tony will be back next week. I got to go back and double check that email. I may have to record one more. But from me and my blue-haired brother Tony, just remember, be that superhero for Jesus. Go outside the 4 walls, spread that grace and love, because it's not just about the 4 walls. Take it outside the 4 walls. For me and brother Tony, we love y'all. Be blessed. Be healed. And be a blessing. Love y'all.